Welcome everyone. As you're coming in here, we're excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Marsha Butler. I am the webinar director here at Advice Chaser. Before we introduce our guests and get started, I do need to do a bit of legal housekeeping. Advice Chaser, the host of this webinar, is not a registered investment advisor. We cannot and do not give financial advice. Today's presentation is for educational purposes only and cannot be considered advice for any person's individual situation. Advice Chaser regularly hosts informative webinars such as this one, featuring a variety of knowledgeable professionals, many of whom are licensed advisors. Any opinions, ideas, jokes, or principles expressed by presenters are their own and however true, funny, or interesting are not endorsed by Advice Chaser. Please do not act on the information you hear today without consulting a qualified financial professional. Well, we are thrilled to bring you this educational presentation. Attendees are muted, but we encourage you to ask questions using the chat box. The presenters will answer those queries during or after the webinar today as appropriate. And if you have a question to ask in the chat box, go ahead and leave your phone number as well. If we can't get to your question during the event, we will make sure someone reaches out to you after today's event. We want this experience to be as educational as possible, so please don't hesitate to ask for clarification or expansion of the material. I'd love to introduce you to today's moderator, Catherine Petrelli, goes by Kat, hello, is a managing partner and financial advisor with National Wealth Management Group, LLC. Hailing from California's LA area, Catherine moved to Southern Florida in 1992, where she planted her household and raised 2 sons and a daughter. Being the only girl from a family of 6 children raised by dedicated parents, Kat understands the importance of sensible financial planning, and her ambition mirrors this passion. While raising her 3 children, she earned both her bachelor's degree and master's degree in organizational management and launched a career in financial services in 2001. Catherine acquired her securities licenses while at WMA Securities, which later became World Group Securities. She provided dedicated investment planning and administrative support as a critical component of her firm's top producing female advisor team until 2015, when she branched out to run her own branch in Palm Coast, Florida. Catherine specializes in retirement and income planning, investment management, and investor behavioral coaching. She's a dedicated educator, drawing from her family's military background to motivate clients and friends alike to maintain prudent financial discipline to achieve their desired results. And Catherine, I'd love you to come off of mute and say hello to everyone. Tell us a bit more about you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. That was pretty, that was a lot about me.
It's a pretty thorough bio there.
Yeah, I forget how much work that was, but it's back then, and it seems like yesterday, and it's been about 20 years being in the industry. Just real quick, I got in the industry because I couldn't find an advisor, a financial professional to help me and my family. And didn't have a lot of investable assets back then. And I ended up getting introduced to the industry and educated a bit about some different products, and realized that, you know, this is something, I'm changing careers. This is something I feel like I'll do it. If it doesn't work, worst case, I become my own financial advisor. And best case, you know, I teach everybody what I learned. And, you know, and that's basically how I got in the industry, applied everything to myself, really educated myself. And I take that's the process I use with my clients, is really education. I want to make sure that everyone understands, you know, what I'm doing, what I'm recommending, why I'm recommending it, how an investment vehicle works. Really, a lot of times it's starting with basics. That passion for education's never left. It's 20 years from starting. I'm still in that same mode. So it all comes first and foremost, educating, just really coming from that place. And you're all being on this webinar right now is you are looking for education and you're looking for that about Social Security. So I really applaud you for joining us, and I hope that you enjoy it and you get a lot of information, take lots of notes. Thank you.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and introduce today's presenters. We have Mark Kiner here, and he's the president of Premier Social Security Consulting, which specializes in helping individuals and couples understand and maximize their lifetime Social Security benefits. The business also provides Social Security education and training for professional advisors looking to better serve their own clients and educating them about Social Security. Mark obtained his Bachelor's of Science degree in Accounting and Finance and a master's degree from the University of Cincinnati. He is a CPA and has 35 years of experience in public accounting. And we are also pleased to have Gail Jacobs with us, who is also with Premier Social Security Consulting and the marketing director and a wonderful educator. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here and turn it over to you, Mark and Gail, and looking forward to a great presentation.
Thank you, Marche.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
And thank you, Kat, for being the moderator today. Marche, I did like that picture of me that you put on the on your slide. It's Gail, our marketing director, tells me I need to change it. You can see
it's old. Change
back 10
Reality.
to 15 years ago. Anyway, thanks
Working
for having us. I
Mhm.
need to go ahead now and change and share my screen. So let me do that. Here we go. Let me see if this is going to do it. Can you see my my screen, everybody?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. I'm changing it to the PowerPoint. There we go. So I'm like Marche indicated, I'm a CPA and I sold my accounting practice back in 2012. So I can concentrate 100% of my time in the Social Security space. My partner, Jim Blair, who's not going to be able to join us today, worked for the Social Security Administration for 35, he says, agonizing years. I believe him. Jim and I got together in 2010 when we created a company called Premier Social Security Consulting. At that point, our focus was to help folks across the country to understand and maximize their Social Security benefits. But we also teach a Social Security class to advisors across the country. Gail, why don't you say a few words about who you are, please, where you've come from?
Gail Jacobs from Deer Park, Ohio, resident of Cincinnati, born and raised here. And my background is I worked for a number of years. I supervised catering staff for large events, weddings, bar bat mitzvahs, fundraisers for 500 people or more. And, through the pandemic, that job was eliminated. And I have to say, and so now I'm doing marketing for Mark and Jim's firm, but I have to say I'm inspired by Kat because I was a stay-at-home mom. I raised 5 kids. And I recently, and I'm divorced, and I recently did a online Social Security and I had a lot of 0 years there. And because I raised my 5 kids. So anyhow, learning about Social Security and all the different claiming options is one of the reasons why we're here today. Glad to be here.
Now you can tell there's a difference between Gail and myself. She's marketing director. She has a bubbly personality. I'm a little more stoic, but I still have fun when I teach. When we teach our class, and we talk a lot about situational Social Security. We know that everybody's situation is in a unique and different. Everyone is in a unique and different situation. So we make sure at the end of our training, advisors understand all the issues and questions that relate to every one of their unique clients. We're going to talk about a lot of these situations. We won't talk about them all. We're only going to be on with you until 1. So there'll be a limit as to how much depth we can go into. But our webinar today is, will focus on women and their Social Security claiming strategies. So let me just run through this list with you, and then we'll go on and do other more fun stuff. So some of the more common situations are folks may be single. They may not have the opportunity to draw off of anybody. So sometimes the biggest leg on a three-legged stool for single folks are that no one's going to collect off them when they're gone. So we're going to talk about single people a little later during this hour. We're going to talk a little bit about married couples. Married couples will have different strategies depending on what's the age difference. If it's wide apart in ages, 5+ years or more, maybe the husband might want to wait to age 70. If it's less than 5 years, then the strategies will change accordingly. You may be public employees, so you had a job in which you did not pay Social Security taxes. So the windfall elimination provision applies in what we call the grumpy partner offset. It's really called the government pension offset. If we have time today, we'll talk about public employees. We already had a chat question to talk about the restricted application. So Gail, I have a question for you. What's that magic birth date?
That magic birth date is January 1st, 1954.
And so if you were born by that magic birth date, which Gail has memorized, you can file for benefits off of your spouse. It could be a current spouse. It could be an ex-spouse, while at the same time, your benefits grow, earning delayed retirement credits. And don't worry, we'll talk more about the restricted application a little later during this hour. You may have kids we might need to factor in. Children up to ages 18/19 can file for benefits. You may have an ex-spouse. You may have more than one ex-spouse. So we're going to go over some of those strategies that are available if you're divorced. You might be able to collect off of one or more deceased spouses. So we'll talk about that also later on during this hour. And if you're over full retirement age, you have an opportunity to claim 6 months of retroactive benefits. So if you're 67 and you want to file for benefits, you can get a nice lump sum check effective 6 months ago. And full retirement age, it's different. It used to be age 66 for everybody, but now ranges between 66 and 67. If you're turning age 62 this year, like Gail is, what would their full retirement age be?
Have it memorized, 66 and 10 months.
So if you're turning age 60, I forgot what the question was. If
62.
you're turning age 62 this year, that means your full retirement age is 66 and 10 months. If you're turning age 62 next year, your full retirement age is age 67. I was born in 56. I turned 62 in 2018. My full retirement age is 66 and 4 months, which equates to June of 2022. And believe me, folks, that's coming up pretty darn quick. Age 66 and 4 months for myself, that is. I am a contributing author to this mammoth of a Social Security book. If you look closely, you'll see my name listed on the bottom, along with Jim Blair. It's the 2021 Social Security Medicare Facts Book, published by the National Underwriter Company. 729 questions, 729 pages, almost 1,000 questions on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and related topics. It's a great resource for advisors, and a lot of advisors that we've educated have already gone out and purchased this book. I am going to test your knowledge. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Number 1, and don't answer these questions, but we will answer them as we go on today. Number 1 question: how many years of earnings are included in the benefit calculation? Could it be the last 3, 5, or 10 years? Highest 3, 5, or 10? Best 20 quarters? Nah. Could it be 35 years? We'll answer that question in about 10 minutes or so. Harold is with us all day long when we teach our class. He's a party animal, does not give the best advice. At a Super Bowl party, Harold told Darlene Snell from the Ozark Netflix series that she can claim benefits off her ex if married for 7 years. Is this advice correct? And finally, what provision impacts public employees seeking both government pension and their own Social Security? Could it be the windfall elimination provision, government pension offset, or the answer I made up, public employee Social Security benefit reduction? The purpose of these questions is just to get you begin to begin thinking about Social Security. And we'll answer these hopefully during the next, we'll answer the first 2 questions for sure. The third one, that might be a little tight towards the end of our hour together today. Let's talk about the program before we talk about specific strategies. In 2019, 64 million folks received monthly benefits. Look at the dollars paid out. This is the bottom row in red. $1.048 trillion in benefits was paid out in 2019. That's a lot of money being paid out to beneficiaries. You can see when the program began in 1937, $1.2 million was paid out. Let's fast forward to 2019, where it's $1.48 trillion, and it's continuing to grow on a yearly basis. Let's look at the bottom, item A. Let's talk about item A. She was the first recipient of a monthly check. She began benefits in January of 1940. She received a whopping $22.54 a month. She's my hero because she lived to the ripe old age of 100. So your first lesson of the day is this: Social Security would pay you for as long as you're alive. They'll never call you up and say, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, your account is down to 0 and the benefits stop next month. I was looking in the Cincinnati obituaries a couple of weeks ago. I found somebody who passed away at the age of 103. But Gail, that pales in comparison to Ethel, doesn't it?
Yes. So this is my very dear friend, Ethel. She is my best friend's mother-in-law. Ethel is a whopping 106. She turned 106 in November. She was celebrating with a little drink there. And she has been collecting, I think Mark said 40 years. I mean, her husband passed in 1990 when he was 75. So, she's been collecting Social Security for a very long time. I hope she continues to collect for a long time.
Of course, though, this may not be you. You guys, 106, that's kind of unusual, but it's there. A couple of weeks ago in the Cincinnati obituary, somebody did pass away at the age of 107. But like Gail said, Ethel's been receiving benefits probably since age 65. So I'm just going to say 41 years and counting. So when you file for benefits and when you make a decision, take into account that you may be receiving benefits for 20, 30. And if you're anything like Ethel, it could be up to 40 years. Let's talk about the COLA. COLA in 2021 in January was 1.3%. Not very high. And I don't know what the COLA is going to be for next year. But you can see between 2021 and 2010, we had 3 years of zero COLA. 2016, 2011, 2010. The longer you wait to receive benefits, the higher COLA adjustment you'll see each year. So that's always something to think about. But don't expect a lot from COLA. COLA is generally going to be offset by the increase in the Medicare Part B premiums. And so even if COLA was 2%, it's probably going to be eaten up completely by whatever the increase in Medicare Part B premiums are. And you probably all know that you're eligible to Medicare effective when you're age 65. Gail knows I've applied for Medicare effective February 1st of 2021. That's when I turned age 65 on February 13th. So my Medicare was effective February 1st. And believe me, Gail has never seen anybody so excited to be on Medicare. Have you?
Never, ever.
my medical costs have gone down. I was paying $1,300 a month. Now I probably pay about $500 to $600 a month. So that's really nice. Mm-hmm. Let's look at some claiming trends. In 1996, 56% of men and 63% of women began benefits at age 62. Fast forward to 2019 and 18, I should say, where you can see the percentages have come down a lot. 27% for men, 31% for women. But what does the future hold in store? If women are eligible for their own Social Security benefits, what we see is happening is this: women will begin their benefits at age 62 or around that time period. Yes, they'll take about a 25% haircut depending what their full retirement age is. By them collecting benefits early at 62, that might allow the husband to wait till full retirement age or maybe even to age 70 to collect his benefits. So a very common strategy is if both spouses are eligible for their own benefits, ladies will begin theirs early. Husband will claim anywhere between full retirement age and age 70. And if they were born by that, if the husband was born by that magic birth date of
January 1st, 1954.
he can file a restricted application, claim benefits off his spouse while his own benefits are growing, earning delayed retirement credits. We'll talk more about the restricted app in just a few slides, but it's something that we want to make sure at the end of the day, you understand it might apply to you. And that's how you can get more money out of the Social Security system. So we're going to talk about, how do you maximize your benefits? Will it be there for you? Well, let's talk about the solvency of the Social Security Trust Fund. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, folks. It's really not that important. Social Security will always be there. It will never run out of money. $1 trillion is coming in each year, and that amount is growing. Those taxes that come in, FICA taxes from your paycheck, will go out to Social Security beneficiaries. So it's not going bankrupt. There's a $3 trillion trust fund right now, and that trust fund will be gone by 2035. Social Security sometime down the road will have to make some changes. They'll probably delay full retirement age from the current level of 67, maybe up to age 70. Maybe they'll water down benefits a little bit. Maybe they'll increase taxes. But something will be done to the system to make it more solvent. But let's talk about a subject that's more interest to everybody on this webinar. How do you maximize your benefits? Number 6 on this list, the very nice faces at the Social Security office. Jim Blair used to be one of them, smiling faces. You walk in. I always laugh at that because I see Jim almost every day. They're basically just order takers. Don't expect any advice when you go down there. They'll take your application. They may not even take it the right way, but they'll take your application. Number 1 on this list, you need to make a plan. You need to make a plan to understand and to maximize your Social Security benefits. Please remember that Social Security benefits may be a joint lifetime benefit. Generally, upon the passing of the husband, the wife may step into his shoes. If he takes benefits early, that haircut may last 2 lifetimes. If he waits to age 70, that increase may last 2 lifetimes also. So it's very important to weigh the factor of should the higher earner wait to age 70 to maximize his or her own benefits, which will then, of course, maximize a surviving spouse benefit down the road. We maximize benefits for husband and wife or family unit, not husband or wife. Do not think inside the box. That's when you look at your benefits at 3 different ages, 62, full retirement age, and age 70. You must think outside the box. Situational Social Security. Can you file that restricted application? Are you single, married? There's something, I've got a picture in, okay, are you looking for survivor benefits? I have something in the way of that slide a little bit. Are there children we need to take into account? Are you divorced? How do you coordinate spousal benefits? This is how you think outside the box. Everyone on this webinar is no doubt in a different situation. You need to understand all the issues and questions and strategies that relate to your particular situation. And Gail is on phone calls with me all the time. She listens to all the phone calls I get from clients and prospects, folks that we do consultations for, and advisors that we educate. And Gail knows that every phone call I get is slightly different. The situation between of the Social Security beneficiary is different. And so we have to run through a whole slew of different types of options for every unique person that we might talk to. More than 90% of all beneficiaries or recipients do not maximize their benefits. They have no clue what their options are. Okay, we're not going to talk about the claim and suspend because that strategy is basically gone. But we will talk about the restricted application. That allows you to claim benefits off your spouse, while at the same time your benefits grow, earning those delayed retirement credits. Let's say that's my situation. Let's say I'm eligible for $2,000 off my work record. Let's say I'm also eligible for $1,000 off my wife. I could file a restricted application to claim $1,000 a month in a spousal benefit. I'll collect that benefit for 4 years, up to age 70, $48,000 in our pocket. And at the same time, my benefits have grown now by 32% from $2,000 up to $2,640. Now, what can I do with $48,000? Well, I know there's a Starbucks right around the corner that will probably be buying me about 10 to 15,000 cups of coffee at Starbucks. If you buy the expensive stuff, it's not going to last quite as long. Now, it's not available to everybody upon reaching full retirement age. It's only available to folks that were born by, Gail,
January 1st, 1954.
if you're born by that date, you can file a restricted application, claim a benefit off your spouse, could be off your husband, could be off your wife. And at the same time, your benefits are growing by those delayed retirement credits. It's as close as having a cake and eating it too. Having a cake part is I'm getting $48,000 in a spousal benefit. Eating it too, I'm getting all those delayed retirement credits. About 40% of our clients can still utilize the restricted application. So it's not everybody because of that date of January 1st, 1954. If you were born by that date, make sure that you put into your claiming strategies the opportunity to file a restricted application. We'll talk more as the hour goes by on that. Let's talk about 3 strategies for married couples. Generally, we'll have one spouse who wait to age 70. It's going to be the spouse that will provide for a surviving spouse benefit upon death. Now, only about 4% of folks actually wait to age 70. So it's not a lot. The more likely age you claim would be more like age 68. Leg number 1 leads us into leg number 2, 3 I meant, where we want to maximize surviving spouse benefits. And of course, leg number 2, how do you coordinate spousal benefits between husband and wife? What does situational Social Security mean? We'll talk about leg number 2 over the next 30 minutes in more detail. All right. So 50 million folks have online accounts. How many of you have online accounts? Marche, raise your hand if you do.
I do.
Kat, you do? Gail, do you?
I just did mine last week.
I'm hoping that anyone out there who does not have an online account will go on to ssa.gov tonight and create an online account. It's not a difficult process. Gail did it, like she said a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week. All Gail needed to do was provide some information from her driver's license, the driver's license number and the state, I believe, right, Gail?
Yes, but let me just say this. I was
Go for
quite
it.
surprised because I have been working for a long time. I've been teaching for 25 years, but I also worked like not just that job, but other jobs at one time. And then also staying home, raising my children, my 5 children. I had some 0 years there. I was not expecting that. I was kind of a shocker. So, yeah.
Gail, can you hold that thought? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. I guarantee
And also
you. Okay.
restricted application also.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, not restricted application. The earnings test is also.
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
important.
No doubt. We'll
Yeah.
get there. No
Uh-huh.
problem.
Okay,
So
good.
Gail set hers up, took about 15 minutes. The only issue Gail had was the password, but either way, it worked out just fine. The online account gives you a lot of good information. It's going to give you your earnings. I mean, your benefit estimates at 3 different ages, full retirement age, age 62 and age 70. So you can get to monitor the level of your benefit amounts. And now it's also going to give you your earnings history. And it's going to tell you your earnings history going back to your first job at Wendy's. That would be my case, my first job at Wendy's. And if the earnings history is wrong, if the sooner you catch a mistake, the easier it is for you to get Social Security Administration to change it. Everybody should have an online account. And Gail, we'll talk about your situation when we talk about how benefits are calculated, so we won't forget.
Good.
Everyone should have an online account, even if you don't have 40 credits. And let me tell you why. To be eligible for Social Security benefits, you need 40 credits. So what if you only have 36? Well, to obtain 4 more credits, all you need to do is go to work, make about $6,000. So your husband has 40 credits, you have 36. How can you obtain 4 more credits to be eligible for your own benefits? You go to work, make $6,000. It could take you a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. But once you earn $6,000, then you're eligible for your own Social Security benefits. You may not get a lot of money. That's true, but you'll get something. And that might allow your husband to wait till full retirement or age 70 to collect his benefits. And so when we meet with clients, we want to look at the benefit statement for both husband and wife. Because if the wife doesn't have 40 credits, we can give her some ideas of how to obtain the additional credits. So you need 40 credits, and then you need to be age 62. At age 62, you receive a partial benefit, about a 25% haircut. You receive your full benefit at your full retirement age, and you get those delayed retirement credits if you wait beyond full retirement, all the way up to age 70. This chart will show you your full retirement age. We already went over that just a little bit earlier. Born between 43 and 54, full retirement age is 66. If you're born in 1959, that means you're turning 62 this year, and your full retirement age is 66 in 10 months. So what's the significance of full retirement age? That's the age you receive 100% of your benefits. My full retirement age is June of 2022. If I collect my benefits at that point, I get 100% of my benefit. If I take early, reduce for age. If I wait later than that, I get those delayed retirement credits. You can see full retirement age goes up in 2-month intervals or increments of beginning at age 66 in 2 months, all the way up to age 67. Does everybody out there know your full retirement age? It's a very important age to know. Very important. All right. This is important for the reason Gail indicated just about 5 minutes ago. How do we calculate benefits? Based on 35 years of earnings. So we're going to look at your first job at Wendy's 40 years ago. In my case, I guess, no, I'm 65. If I can do a little bit of math, just bear with me. I need to take a look at my new Verizon cell phone here. 2021 minus 16. Wait a second. Minus 45. So I probably had my first job maybe in let's say 1980. Let's just kind of throw that out. My first job wasn't actually at Wendy's, but when I moved to Cincinnati, it was. And so those earnings from Wendy's will be taken into account. Your earnings are indexed for inflation, bring them up to today's dollars. And so if you earn $20,000 in 1985, indexed amount is about $60,000 today. So it's based on 35 years of earnings. Now, like Gail said, when you looked at your benefit statement, what did you discover?
I had some 0 years. I thought, oh my gosh, no. But yeah, it was true. It was kind of a shocker because I did stay home and raise my kids. I also, I had 5 kids in 7 years. So, it wasn't a whole lot of options there. I had to stay home, but it was just a little bit of shock. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And so in that case, if you don't have 35 years of decent earnings or 35 years of earnings at all, anytime you replace a 0 year with something positive, it's going to have a nice impact to your Social Security benefits. And so for women that stay at home with the kids, try to replace a 0 year with something positive. It'll have a nice impact. If you already have your 35 years in, then additional work probably won't increase your benefit a whole lot. You'll probably end up paying FICA, well, you will end up paying FICA taxes on those additional earnings, but you probably won't receive any significant increase in your Social Security benefits. But like Gail said, she stayed home, raised five great kids. But the sacrifice is that your earnings history just won't have a lot of years of positive earnings.
So the sooner you look and you set up your account, it really doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. It's a good thing to, at least you have that knowledge.
Let's look at this slide here. When do you get paid? When will you receive your Social Security benefit? It's based on your birthday. If you're born between the 1st and the 10th, the benefit will be deposited in your bank account the 2nd Wednesday of the month. If you were born between the 11th and the 20th, the 3rd Wednesday, 21st to the end of the month on the 4th Wednesday. Now, I was born on February 13th. If I begin my benefits in June of next year, I'll receive my benefits. My first benefit would be paid to me the 3rd Wednesday of July. They always pay you a month behind, not during the current month, but the benefit for the month of June for me would be paid to me in July. and it'll be paid to me the third Wednesday in July. If you take benefits early, it's going to be reduced. This chart will show you that if you're turning age 62 this year, you were born in 1959. So if Gail begins her benefits this year, she'll receive 70.8% of her benefits. I was born in 56. If I had begun my benefits at 62, I would have received 73.3% of my benefits. Now that I'm about a year away from my full retirement age, if I would begin today, I'd get closer to about 90 to 92% of my benefits. And no, it doesn't go up. It's not magic, folks. You take your benefits early, it stays reduced for the rest of your life. A lot of people think it's magic, it goes up at your full retirement age. Now, Gail talked about the annual earnings test. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we just don't have a lot of time today. But what you need to know is this. Anytime you're receiving a benefit prior to reaching your full retirement age, there's going to be a limit as to how much you could earn before Social Security will withhold some of your benefits or withhold all of your benefits. We call this the earnings test. Earnings test is about $19,000. You can see that. Earnings test will go away the month that you turn full retirement age. Now, Gail, why did you want me to talk about the earnings test so much?
Well, so my ex-husband passed away in May, last May. And he had remarried. And so I actually remained close to him and his family. And so everybody called me and said, oh my God, Alan's passed away. You can collect Social Security. So when I called there, I had a very nice woman and she said, there's an earnings test. I think it was like 1,580. Like if you make more than 1,580, 1,580 per month, I believe it was, then there's
Correct.
such a reduction. It's not even, it wasn't even worth it. So I will wait. I won't wait till 70, but I will wait till I'm 66 in 10 months. Because that's my retirement age, but I certainly am not waiting till I'm 70, and I probably will not collect off of my ex.
Gail, I think that's April of 2026. You can go ahead and claim your benefits.
I'm gonna write it on my calendar right now.
Yeah, please do that. If you wait beyond full retirement age, you get those delayed retirement credits, 8% more per year. So if your full retirement age is 66, you wait to age 70, now your benefit's gone up 32%. Now this increase is permanent. So if somebody's going to collect off you after you're passing, the longer you could wait up until age 70, the more they'll receive as a surviving spouse. All right, spousal benefits. Yay. Because after this, we're going to talk about benefits off of an ex-spouse. All right. So let's assume I'm married. Let's just kind of make that assumption. For my wife to collect off my work record, she must be single. I must be receiving either a retirement or a disability benefit. We have to be married for at least 12 months. So if I decide to wait to age 70, now my wife has to wait until I turn my benefits on at age 70 for her to claim a spousal benefit. If I claim my benefit at age 66, my full retirement age, then she can claim a spousal benefit at that point. And, if your husband's going to claim off you because your benefits are higher, then he has to wait for you to turn on your benefits. Do you turn your benefits on at 66? Do you turn your benefits on maybe at age 70? So what you need to know is that a spousal benefit is not paid until the spouse you're looking to claim off of is receiving a benefit, retirement or disability. So many people say, hey, my wife wants to start a spousal benefit of my work record. Do I have to be receiving a benefit? They ask me that all the time. And the answer is yes. They either have to be receiving a disability benefit or they have to be receiving a retirement benefit. Now let's talk about divorced spouses. Now let's assume I'm divorced. For my ex-spouse to draw off me, she must be single. She must be at least age 62, been married for at least 10 years. That's the key, 10 years. I must be receiving a benefit. So what if I want to wait to age 70? Does that mean my ex-spouse has to wait until I'm age 70 to turn my benefits on for her to claim off my work record? Yes. Unless we were divorced for at least 2 years, then she's considered to be an independently entitled divorced spouse. She can claim off my work record, even though I'm not collecting a Social Security benefit. So divorce for less than 2 years, I must be claiming a benefit. Divorce for at least 2 years, that requirement goes away. Now, what if I have 3 ex-spouse? Oh, wait, I don't think we have that here, but let's
Oh,
assume,
shoot.
okay, that's okay.
Darn
Let's
it.
assume I have 3 ex-spouses, Betty, Amber, and Chloe. I was a higher earner. They could all draw off me at the same time. Let's assume I'm the lower earner. I can draw off Betty first because she's going to turn age 62. 2 years later, I got to keep them in order. Amber turns 62 2 years later. My benefit off Amber would be higher. I can switch the benefits off her work record. And then 2 years after that, Chloe turns 62, and I can switch the benefits off of Chloe's work record. So as your ex-spouse's cycle turns 62, you can switch the benefits off of from one ex-spouse to another. Now, how many ex-spouses can you draw off of? Well, it depends how many marriages you had that lasted 10 years. Usually, the first one would have lasted 10 years, and the other one's not. But Kat and I were talking beforehand. Sometimes you may have more than one ex-spouse that you were married to for 10 years. Then you can pick and choose. If they turn 62 at different times, you might have some options that are available to you.
Mhm.
How much are spousal benefits? It's 50%. If my benefit is $2,000, my wife, current or ex, can receive $1,000 off of my work record at her full retirement age. She wants to take that benefit early, she can, but it's going to be reduced for age back to age 62 by about 30%. And so it's 50% of the other spouse's full retirement age benefit. My full retirement age benefit is $2,000. My current spouse and or my ex-spouse would get $1,000 each. So it's 50%.
Mark, can you just go go over the 1954? We had a question.
Sure.
Just a little bit confused on that.
Well, that's on this slide right here, Kat.
Okay.
If I was born, no, let's just say if my wife, no, if I was born by that date, January 1st, 1954, I can file a restricted application to claim a benefit off my spouse, current or ex, while my own benefits are growing, earning those delayed retirement credits. What a valuable strategy, Kat, that is. I'm collecting a spousal benefit while at the same time my benefits are growing, earning delayed retirement credits. But like Gail has said several times today, and you said, Kat, you haven't been born by that magic birth date of 1/1/54. Only about 40 to 45% of our clients can still file a restricted application. It used to be a lot more than that, but it's a lot. But at this point, it's only about 40%, Kat. And by the end of 2023, that will come down to 0. But between now and then, if you were born by that magic birth date of 1/1/54, please consider a restricted application in your strategy. Maybe the wife begins her benefits. Maybe the husband does the restricted application. If she was born by 1/1/54, maybe he begins his benefits and she does the restricted application. So it depends on their birth dates, what their strategies may be. But yeah, restricted app is very important. Okay. I'm not going to be really be able to go over many of these examples here. But here, let me go over this one. Nope. Let me go over this one. I've got approximately, I always have to keep a track on time. I have about 5 to 10 minutes more to talk. And as we do talk, we always take questions. So here we go. Mary begins her benefits on her work record at age 62, and she receives $750. Her full retirement age benefit is $1,000. Mary becomes eligible for the spousal boost at her full retirement age when Paul turns on his benefits. So how much is Mary's total benefit at her full retirement age? Paul's full retirement age benefit is $2,500. So here we have Mary collecting her benefit at 62. Paul turns his benefits on later. And when he turns his benefits on, she can get something off of his work record. How much? We call this the spousal benefit boost. We take half of Paul's PIA of $1,250 reduce that by Mary's PIA of 1,000. So she gets a boost off of his work record of $250. That boost, and this is critical here, folks, is added to her reduced benefit of $750. So she gets $1,000. Oh, didn't I say 5 minutes ago that a spousal benefit is 50%? I did. However, though, since Mary took her benefits early, the spousal boost will be added to her reduced benefit. The $250 spousal boost is added to her $750, and she only gets $1,000. Is that a bad strategy? Not really. She began to receive $750 at age 62. That's not bad. That buys her a whole bunch of cups of coffee at Starbucks. And then when Paul turns his benefits on, Mary gets a step up. She gets a boost of $250. So that's why earlier we did talk about if wives are eligible for their own benefits, and believe me, more and more wives are definitely eligible for their own benefits nowadays. She can claim her benefits at 62, take a haircut. Husband turns his benefits on later. Now she gets the boost. So $250 plus $750 gives her $1,000. So that's not necessarily a bad strategy. She just won't maximize her surviving spouse. No, I didn't mean to say that. She just won't maximize benefits, the spousal benefit while her husband's alive. What happens when her husband is deceased? Now we talked about surviving spouse benefits. If I were to pass away, my wife can step into my shoes at her full retirement age. So if I pass away receiving $3,000, she'll get $3,000 at her full retirement age. So maybe she took her own benefit early, but upon my passing, as long as she's not the result of my passing, she can collect off my work record and collect the whole surviving spouse benefit. So that's why it's important for the higher earner, many times that's going to be the husband, to wait to age 70 to maximize his surviving spouse benefit when he's gone. But like I said, Gail, how many folks percentage-wise wait to age 70?
What is it, like 4%?
Yeah, it's only 4%. So it's really not a lot of people wait to age 70. More common age might be age 68. But if a husband can wait to age 70, assuming he's older, he's going to pass away first, assuming his income is higher, she'll get more money for the rest of her life as a surviving spouse. Gail's good friend Ethel, she's probably began receiving a surviving spouse benefit back in 1975 or so. She's been receiving maybe 1980. She's been receiving that benefit amount for 30 to 40 years. So the longer a husband in that situation can wait, so he can get more money will be paid to a surviving spouse upon his death. All right. We do have, I tell you what, folks, let me go over three more three-legged stools. Then we've got some more chat questions to answer. And that's kind of how we'll end today's webinar. This is a three-legged stool for single folks. If no one's going to collect off you when you're gone, then, well, first of all, single people can begin their benefits anywhere from 62 to 70. Now, the biggest leg for a single person is leg number 2. Death ends benefits. Assume I'm single. Assume nobody can collect off me when I'm gone. Does it make sense for me to wait to age 70? Hey, probably not. It probably makes more sense for me to wait until my full retirement age, which is June of 2022, because upon my passing, nobody's going to collect off me when I'm gone. So I might as well collect my benefit as early as I can. Well, at my full retirement age, June of 2022. If you're divorced, you collect off your ex if your ex is alive or deceased. And of course, if you want to collect off your ex-spouse and you've been divorced for less than 2 years, your ex must be receiving a benefit. Divorced for 2 years or longer, that requirement will go away. And if you were born by 1/1 of 54, you could file a restricted application, claim a benefit off your ex-spouse, while at the same time your own benefits are growing, earning those delayed retirement credits. And the last three-legged stool is a surviving spouse. Surviving spouses have options that other folks may not have. They can collect their own benefit at age 62, switch to a surviving spouse benefit at full retirement age, or they can collect a surviving spouse benefit as early as age 60 and switch to their own as late as age 70. There's a little known provision that does not apply to surviving spouses that applies to everybody else. It's called deemed filing. Deemed filing means that when you file for benefits, you're gonna receive any benefit you're eligible for. So if my wife files for benefits, she must receive her own benefit. And if she's eligible for something off my work record, she'll get that at the same time. If you're a surviving spouse, that doesn't apply. You can take any benefit you want as early as age 60/age 62, and you can switch to the surviving spouse to another benefit down the road because deemed filing does not apply. All right. Well, I want to talk. Believe me, folks, I can go on forever. Gail knows I teach an 8-hour class, and I can just talk forever. These are just some case studies which I did, which I really don't have time to talk about currently. But I wanted to talk a little before we go over the chat questions. Here we go. I thought we had another slide in, but maybe not. Before we go over the chat questions, let me just tell you what we do. We do consultations for folks across the country. Consultation includes a written report of your options. Also includes a consultation with a good-looking guy. That's Jim Blair, wearing a red tie, and also includes filing for benefits online. Our fee for a consultation is $545, and that will include the opportunity to help guide you and review your options with you. Definitely will. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to questions. Kat, do you want to ask the questions?
Sure. We had one, we had Christina who asked if she retires early, let's say at 55, but doesn't take her benefits until full retirement age. Will the projected benefit or the dollar amount be impacted because she's worked full-time since she's 18, so she has more than 35 years in the system?
Well, yeah, I understand the question, but let me just say this. Sure, if you have 35 years, and that's great. However, a lot of those years will be really low income years. We all know that the older you are when you work, normally the more money you earn, and the higher the benefit will be. Social Security will base your benefit estimates on future earnings. So if you make $50,000 in 2020, Social Security will assume you're going to earn $50,000 up until age 70 when computing your benefits. So if your income now goes down to zero, your benefits may come down a little bit. So if you retire at 55, don't work anymore, you still get the bulk of your benefits. But we all do know that usually the later in life that you work, the more your income will be, and thus the more your benefit might be also later on in life. Next question, please.
We have Karen who asked, can we collect off our children's benefit?
No. However, though, well, I hate to say this, Brenda, you can't collect off a child. However, though, if a child passes away and they were supporting you, providing more than 50% of your financial support, you'd be eligible for a parent's benefit. So if I have a son who's collecting a benefit can I collect off him? No. However, though, if my son, well, I don't want to say it anyway. No, you can't collect off a child, but the child can collect off you up until either age 18 or 19. The child's benefit is payable either upon the passing of a parent or when a parent begins their own benefits. I've never had that question before. We've been teaching never 10 years, never had that question.
There you go. There's a first for everything.
Yes, there is.
Okay, so Virginia is asking, she says she's not married, but she's 61 years old. She doesn't want to lose too much. Is it stupid to take Social Security early?
It's never stupid to take Social Security early. There are other options you have. There's no doubt. You'll take about a 30% haircut if you take at 62 versus your full retirement age. I'm going to assume that age 67. I could be off a little bit of my math. That haircut will last the rest of your life. If you live to age 100, it probably made more sense to wait to full retirement age or age 70. But, collecting benefits at 62, that means you got the money coming in. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So it's never a stupid decision to take benefits early. It's just an option available to you. Life is not guaranteed. No. And that's why many times, I'm actually single. life is not guaranteed. There's really no reason for me to wait till age 70. I'm just gonna collect at my full retirement age. And so in this situation, maybe trying to wait to full retirement age might make a little bit of sense.
Right.
Next question, please.
Mark, do you have a type of calculator, let's say, to determine, in sometimes that break even point when you're trying to determine whether you're going to take it early or wait?
Well, Jim uses Excel schedule, spreadsheets to do that type of calculation. We don't use an official calculator. Jim worked for Social Security for 35 years. He can do the math in his sleep, in his sleep. So he uses an Excel schedule. But believe me, folks, you can just Google Social Security calculator. You'll find a whole bunch of them. They're out there. They're a dime a dozen.
Right. There's so many different situations, like you were saying, Mark. Everyone is completely different than the next person, and it's all different. So we have a question from Karen. Can I collect off my deceased father's benefits? If so, what age?
Well, yeah, okay, sure. A child is eligible for a benefit off of a deceased parent. A child must be single, must be under age 18. Upon reaching age 18, child must still be in high school, and benefits will continue for up to 1 more year. So basically at age 19, benefits stop, for a child's benefit just stops. So benefits are paid to your child if they're single and up to either age 18 or 19.
Okay. So what about this situation? I'm a gig worker. So FICA isn't taken out of my paychecks. How do I know if I'm paying into the Social Security system?
Well, look at your benefit statement. Go online, ssa.gov, and create an account like Gail did. Took her 15 minutes. And if it wasn't for that darn password, it would have taken you 10. Anyway, just go online and look at your earnings history. Look at your tax returns. Tax returns will also tell you if you're paying FICA taxes. But look at the earnings history. There's going to be 3 columns. One column would be the year. Second column will be your FICA earnings. Third column would be your Medicare earnings. And if, that way you can tell if you're paying FICA taxes on your earnings or not.
Good enough. Okay. So very important. Your benefits estimate. Log in, pull it out, and pull it up so you know what you've got to work with. I just, as a side note, when I meet with a client, that's one of the first things that they're required to bring with them. I let them go online, so that we add that into our planning, whether it's going to be an ancillary income, whatever it is, we need that information so that we could do proper planning for retirement.
Kat, Gail, and Marche, a married couple can receive $1 to $1.5 million in benefits over their lifetimes. Huge. And they may be receiving these benefits for 20, 30, or 40 years. It's a huge, people call it an annuity. It's guaranteed for as long as you're alive. So yeah, it's an annuity. That's a pretty much of a guaranteed income stream. So take time, look at your options. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone has different options. What works for a neighbor or a friend or a colleague won't be the strategies that work for you. So look at your options, like Kat said.
Well, do we have any more questions? This is the last chance to put those in the chat.
We had a nice crowd today.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
It tells you how important Social Security is.
Well, okay. Here's the one last question here. Will we receive a copy of the PowerPoint? What we will do is we will send you out a replay link, and then also we will be hosting this video on our YouTube account, and so you can review that as you would like. And also, Mark, does presentations like these very often, and so he's also a resource. And of course, Advice Chaser does frequent webinars on this topic. So we do encourage you to come back. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. First of all, I want to thank Kat. I want to thank the organizations that have made this possible today. Thank you, our presenters. Once again, here's Mark's information. On behalf of Advice Chaser, thank you so much. Thank you for attending. Like I said, look for an email soon with a link to the replay of the event. You're welcome to share that with friends and family. Here at Advice Chaser, we're all about helping you find a financial advisor who is a great fit for your life and your financial questions. Our matching service is free to you, and every one of our advisor partners has committed to offer free initial consultation to anyone we introduce them to. Find out more by going to advicechaser.com and clicking on the link to find an advisor. Once again, from Advice Chaser, thank you so much for coming. We'll see you at another webinar soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.